Okay, welcome to my guide on how to break 90 from the tee to the green. All the tips on how to get under that 90 number and a couple of things on what we should avoid and what we shouldn't be doing.
Before we start trying to break 90, we should be able to break 100 consistently. Know your distances of your clubs and a device to measure distances on the course. I'd also recommend using a more premium golf ball, but
Ultimately, breaking 90 can be broken down very simply as you need to play bogey golf or slightly better. So what I mean by that is most pars which you're going to be playing on are like par 70, 72, you get the odd 69 here and there. We mean by bogey golf is if you have a bogey on every single hole, so that's like plus 18, and if you're on a 72 course and you're hitting plus 18, you would be scoring 90. So we basically want to start off with the mentality of bogeys are our pars, double bogeys are our bogeys, pars are our birdies. The one thing that we need to realise with that is it's actually better for us to try and avoid a double than it is to push for a par. You can still break 90 with having the odd double here, that's fine, but if you get loads of doubles, then all of a sudden you're needing pars to get under 90. So if we can set out with the mindset of we just need to play bogey golf, so you know, on a par 5 you're playing a par 6, on a par 4 you're playing a par 5, on a par 3 you're playing a par 4, and eventually as you get along the way you're probably going to get a couple of par efforts if you're around this like kind of mid 90 bracket as it is, and eventually if you play like that more often than not, you're putting yourself in the percentage to get those pars, which will hopefully enable you to break 90. Okay, so we're going to start things off on this lovely par 5, but the one thing we want to look at before we take our shot is the most important thing in breaking 90, I've found anyway, is to be in play. Okay, so if we're in play from the tee, if we're in play from our second shot, if we're just in play as we go all the way around, we've already cut off any like wasted shots, no penalties or anything like that. Worst case scenario, you hit it into the hazard straight away. A, you've lost your ball, and B, you've also now lost 2 shots, which doesn't help when you're trying to break 90.
how to stay in play. We want to assess the hazards from our current shot location. So for this hole, it's the water and OB to the right. Identify our likely miss with the club we are using. So I'm using driver here, so I'm likely to miss off to the right. And then aim for a safe spot, which allows for our miss to still be in play in worst case scenario.
But when it is a par 5, you're trying to hit the distance, and it's kind of one like this. The hazard on this hole and on a lot of them will be OB to the right, and for us right-handers we're prone to massive slices, so as soon as we try and hit it really hard we're more likely to hit like a massive slice and that ball is going to go OB. Okay, so I'm going to take my Pro V1 at this one. I'm going to line it up with a bit of the grass to see like kind of my line in front of me, so when I'm standing over it I know where I'm going, and I'm just going to aim towards that big tree in the middle of the fairway down there if you can see it. Okay, and I'm not going to swing real hard at it, I'm just going to try and put a good connection on it and hopefully get it down there. And that is absolutely perfect, and it's down the middle of the fairway, and again that's like perfectly at my line. I've done a smooth swing at it and I'm literally bang in the middle of the fairway, so I know my shot when I hit a driver well is it's probably going to fade a little bit, and the wind's also going slightly that way, so that's why I chose an object which has a lot of room off to the right. This is a mistake that a lot of people will do, and I'll see if I can do it here, is so with the par 5 you try and swing your absolute most at it. You either hit it very clean or something like probably this is going to happen. So I will try and smack it, don't get me wrong. Again, something like that where I've ended up just topping it, and now yes I'm in the fairway but I'm miles back. I'm probably about 150 meters behind my other ball, but thankfully I'm still in the fairway. So if you do a shot like that, it's still not the end of the world. That's still better than it going out there, but you need to just reassess and readjust when you get down there. Anyway, we'll move on to the next shot and we'll go through a couple more tips. Not gonna lie, I'm absolutely buzzing with that tee shot. For those of you that are new to the channel, you would know that my tee shots have been something of a miss lately, but I have kind of worked on something and it seems to be doing me the world of good. But we're not going to go into technical stuff on this guide, it's more about just how to break 90. If you want a classic example of why the tee shot isn't that important in terms of distance, then click on this video, because I easily broke 90, but I think I hit 2 good tee shots throughout the whole 18. So that just goes to show that you can get away as long as you're in play and not out of bounds. You can still break 90 quite comfortably. So again, there's that first miss. but we are still in the centre of the fairway, and we've avoided that main hazard, which is the water over there. But our other ball is down the centre of the fairway, which I'm not even sure you can see. Okay, so we've found ourselves in like A1 position, middle of the fairway, and we've hit, for me, was quite a good bomb of the driver. So now we have, according to my watch, it's showing 190 to the centre of the green. Pin looks like it's kind of at the back, but anywhere at the front of the green, 176 metres would be quite good. So basically what we want to look at from here is, yes, we could try and get onto the green and give ourselves an eagle putt. That is technically possible, but the likelihood is if you're trying to break 90 and you're struggling to break it, probably not going to have that shot in the locker every time. Here's a great option now to do a shot which you're comfortable at hitting and set yourself up for a good shot which you know you can get onto the green. So I'm thinking to myself, anywhere within like 80 metres, I'm pretty comfortable with getting in and around the green. If I take that off, essentially that's like 110, so I could literally play like a pitching wedge or a 9-iron and give myself a shot in. I'd probably opt for like a 6-iron, maybe, and it might potentially get there with a good bounce. Or the 7-iron puts me in and around that area. What a lot of people do, and why you fail to break 90, is you'll do something stupid and you'll try and hit like a 2-iron or your free hybrid because you know that's the distance to the hole. But again, you're probably not going to pull off that shot, so we might show you that with a second ball. For now, we're going to have a look at what the wind's doing. So wind's kind of into us this way. So there's a big miss off to the right. We don't want to miss there. We can kind of get away to the left, but we don't want to be in the trees. I will, for the sake of the video, take my 7-iron at this one because we want to play more sensible. And again, just put a smooth swing on it. We're just going to try and get onto the green on our next shot. But position it over distance when you're trying to break 90. Okay, so 7-iron in hand. And that's right down the middle. Again, it's a little bit short, but I'm going to have a nice wedge shot onto the green. Whereas, I'm so happy I pured that, by the way. Actually, I'm not going to use my other Pro V1 for this. Whereas, if I was to go with a 2-iron, like, yes, I could pull it off. Chances are a lot slimmer, but let's see what happens. Again, now I've got this low stinger and it's into those trees and it's not come off, and I'm going to be obstructed into the green. Now I don't have that easy chip on. So again, breaking 90, a lot like whenever you're trying to break 100, is playing smarter, but you're also slightly better than what you were before. So you know where your strengths are, so play to your strengths. So I know my wedge game is pretty strong at the moment, so I'm going to try and get to that wedge distance. Here is the links ball. Again, what would I have had to play with here? I'd have to punch it through and possibly try and avoid that tree. Yes, you can do that shot, but it's not as easy as, you know, the 7-iron in the middle of the fairway. And also because I've hit the fairway, on a nice day, or if you're playing on firm fairways, it's going to roll out, whereas as soon as you're in the rough, it's going to slow up. So again, keep the ball in play, and we're going to lower our scores and give ourselves a good chance at breaking 90. So now we find ourselves chipping onto the green. The other advantage of playing a safer shot to set yourself up for a better chip is now that when you're here, you can clearly see the green. You've got a very accurate idea of where the flag's at. You can kind of see the way the green slopes, kind of see all the hazards around it. You've just got a better, clearer picture. So you can now think about where you want to land this shot. So there's a little bit of a downhill at the start of the green. So if I can land this anywhere on the front of the green, it should roll out towards the pin. So I could either go for like a 52 and land it a little bit shorter, or I could maybe go with my 60 degree and try and land it on like the center of the green. That comes down to like personal preference, but you need to practice this kind of range. For me, where I don't have the best tee shot in the world, obviously that tee shot was really good, but more often than not, it's the weaker part of my game. So I have to rely on this aspect. So I practice this quite a bit. I find it's more important to practice these kind of shots than it is practicing on the range. And the one thing with the wedges from this kind of distance is you want to be familiar with trying to use the bounce of the club. So you can kind of see these clubs I've used the bounce effect. And yep, so it's about 50 meters to the middle Really, I want to be landing this just at the front. I'll go with the 52 first and then maybe try the 60 degree. I think 52 for me is a bit of a safer option because if I miss-hit it, it's still probably going to roll on. So when I'm lining up, identify where I'm going to land on the green, which is slightly to the left of center because it should bank down to the right. And then I want to have a look at in front of the ball to have a look at my line, so I know what I'm lining up with when I'm over the ball. Okay, so I've got a little bit of grass there which I'm looking at. Okay, then I'm going to stand over it, do a practice swing until I can feel that like kind of skimming of the bounce, and then I'm going to step into the ball and try and get it there. Okay, so like I said, that should hopefully make that downhill bit, and it's onto the green. It didn't roll out as much as I thought it would. I thought that was going to roll more, and again I actually didn't hit it that great, but because I went with the 52, it's put me on the green. So the most important thing with, again, breaking 90 is from this kind of range is get on the green. Okay, if we get on the green from this kind of range, we just need to two-putt and we're good. We're breaking 90s today, no problems. Okay, so the other alternative is you go with the 60 degree, again, just from the same kind of range. Okay, so you need to just give it a little bit more. So I've gone at it there, and see I've put that one closer to the pin. But again, I'm comfortable with these wedges because I practice these shots. If you're struggling to break 90 and you've got a bit of time, then put down, like if you've chunked that first one, put down that second ball. It's not going to be your counting ball, but practice it, because you can't practice these shots at the range. You need to practice them on the course. So, put another one down as long as no one behind you, like there isn't for me, or you're not wasting anyone's time. Like, just take the extra time to take another ball. So that's what I'm going to do now. So again, I've swapped back to the 52 because I want to try and do a better shot with the 52. Again, same kind of thing. And that's a bit better. Land, and again, in that kind of ballpark. So you can see there, all three of those balls, I've got a putt for birdie, but what we've actually got is not a putt for birdie, we've got a two putt for par. And that's how you want to think with trying to break 90. We don't need to get a birdie. Yeah, if they come along, yeah, obviously we're going to take them, but don't rush for the birdie. Get a simple par. That's going to do you the world of good on trying to break 90. The other little, I guess, kind of technical tip, I don't really want to go into too many technical things, but when you are using your wedges, when you're trying to use the bounce, a lot of people will grip the club real hard. That's what I was doing at the start, and that just seems to put you in a really bad position. So you want to really lightly hold on to it, and then just kind of guide it through. That kind of noise is what you want to hear. Your shaft lean is not going to be like that, where the front edge digs in. It's going to be more vertical, so that the bounce can skim just before under the ball, and the club bounces up into the ball, and we get a shot like one of those three. Okay, so now we've put ourselves in this situation. As you can see, all three of those are on the green. Second two slightly better than the first one. Okay, but we're still on the green, and we just want to really eliminate free putts. So if we put this one, basically want to practice the lag putts, have a read of the green. I've found recently, taking your time, cleaning the ball and lining it up does help, believe it or not, like all the pros do. At the start I didn't do that, but it seems to have done pretty good for me. The other thing is I don't do any practice swings now. Again, personal preference, whatever works for you. But we just want to get this one to a nice putt. Don't worry about trying to get it in for bird from this kind of range. You're probably going to put yourself in a worse position. Okay, so we're going to hopefully try and two putt this one. And I've not hit that hard enough, so now we're in an annoying situation where, yes, it's still puttable for par, but we should have really got it closer there, but that's going to happen. And you need to forget about it, and now, again, the goal is really just to get bogeys. So as long as I bogey from here, that's still good. We're still on our way to break 90. So don't worry about missing the odd one here and there. As long as this doesn't turn into a double, we're all good. Okay, yeah, so we just want to, again, make sure we line up the putt take your time. Each putt is worth the same as the other one. And just lipped out. So that was, unfortunately, a tap-in bogey. But it's still a bogey, and we're still going to be able to break 90 with that. Yes, I did free putt, which is not ideal, but it does happen. And, you know, you just need to get on with it. You need to forget about the shot and just worry about where you currently are. So, you know, you learn as you go on. Let's go on to the next hole. But we're still on target to break 90. That's the main thing. It's actually back-to-back par fives. So again, we're just going to take the driver. You can miss to the right quite comfortably here. You're just going to go into the other fairway. So yeah, we just want to get the driver. Again, smooth swing on it. Nothing too fancy. Come on. Came a little bit too left there. I thought it was going to fade in, hit the tree and drop back down. We're going to hit those situations. So good example. Let's go on to the next shot and play from there. Okay, second shot. So yeah, I've hit the tree. There's obviously a tree to the left here. So I want to just come out to the right. And again, there's a fair bit of space out there. So I'm just going to take a 6-iron at this one and then hopefully play it so we've got another shot into the green. Remember, we're playing bogey golf. Again, I've not hit that well at all, and that's not gone very far, but it's in the fairway, and you just need to focus on, you can't worry about the shot you've just done, you've got to worry about the shot where you're at now. So I'm going to forget those other shots, we're going to play from there and hopefully try and make it onto the green again. That's probably one of those situations where realistically I should have gone with the 7-iron, but I got baited into trying to get that extra like 10, 20 meters of distance with the 6-iron. Ended up kind of chunking it, and now I am paying the price, and I have a fairly long shot at the green. We're going to apply the same principle as what we had on the last hole, of we are going to try and just get within wedge distance and hopefully get kind of like up and down, rather than, you know, having like an absolute blowout. And that's what we need to avoid. I'm going to try and learn my lesson from the last hole, and this time I'm going to take the 7-iron at this. And we just want to stay in the middle of the fairway and give ourselves a wedge shot on. Oh, that's got to sit. That could be bad. We might have to do some good recovery work here. You can't start getting annoyed and upset, because as soon as you start doing that, you're going to be in the world of trouble. So again, now I'm in a bad situation where, you know, my ideal line is probably obstructed by that branch. So I'm going to do a little punch shot with the 8-iron, and I'm going to come just to the left, and I'm going to try and just get it up towards the pin. If I can get on the green, great. If I get close, then that's fine, as long as I don't hit that tree. That's the main thing I'm going to try and avoid. So I'm going to do a little 8-iron, little punch shot here. No more than that. And that's rolled just to the fringe, I think, just short of the green. But again, like, we've kept our head composed, we've not done anything stupid, and now this is realistically going to be one of those ones which we're going to go for what is kind of like our bogey. So that's essentially going to be a double, but maybe we can get up and down and get a 1-putt. Let's see. So this is our 5th shot, but this is a range where when you're trying to break 90, you want to try and be pretty comfortable with getting up and down from here. So whether you use your wedge or you use your putter, even, there's not much fringe to roll to go, there's not much fairway to get through, or, you know, like a little 8-iron, but when we're looking at this, when we're looking at these chips, in order to get close, we want to read it like we would read a putter. So as you can kind of see, if you get down, it's slightly uphill to the pin, and then it's going to go down to the right. So you want to start thinking about where you're going to land the ball opposed to where the pin is, because what you'll find is a lot of times when you're like struggling to break 90 and you're chipping, you'll land the ball around here, but then it rolls out all the way down there and you've got a long putt. We want to try and get within like a large maybe 3 foot radius of the hole. So with this one, I'm thinking I'll probably try and land it around here. That's the kind of goal that I'm thinking of with the 52. Again, do use a club that you're comfortable with. And again, I've kind of landed it roughly where I wanted to, and then that should give us a nice easy putt for bogey, which is all we need. So if we can recover those bad tee shots and get into a situation like that, and again, if you're not comfortable with the wedge, you can use an 8 iron or like a 7 iron, 9 iron, whatever you want, and you can try and just like bump it across. Again, look at that line. The problem I find with the 8 iron is I can do shots like that, and then that's gone really long. So that's why I personally prefer the wedge. But at the same time, if you just do it right, well, apparently I can't use the 8 iron, but you know, you can use that if you're struggling and you're duffing chips around the green. You can do a shot like that. But let's go use our putter and hopefully get that in for a second bogey. So yeah, these kind of putts, again, take your time to line them up. They all count, whether it's from 3 foot or whether it's from 10 foot, it still counts as the same thing. So I'm going to go slightly to the left of the hole and smooth stroke. And we've sunk that one in for a bogey. So that's how to rescue from a bad tee shot. You can still get an easy bogey if you just like play it slightly smarter and, you know, practice those chip shots or putt shots or whatever, and you want to try and get up and down from those kind of ranges, and that will help you be able to save shots a lot easier because you don't need to do too many aggressive things along the way. And again, just remember, we're trying to break 90, so it's all about getting a bogey, and the odd par will come up. Like I should have got a par on the last hole, I didn't, but I gave myself the opportunity to. One of the biggest problems when you're trying to break 90 is staying mentally in it, because you can do a couple of bad shots and you can easily lose your head, and then you start doing stupid shots and it gets worse and worse and worse. Whereas if you just compose, think about what the best shot is from your current ball position, forget about what the last shot did, it's all about where that ball is and the best way to get it to the hole, you're going to lower your score. And if you're around that mid 90 bracket already, you've got the ability to go under 90 quite easily, I would say. Okay, so same rule applies for par 3s. Again, bogey golf, treat it as a par 4. You know, that's the worst case scenario. But with par 3s, the main thing we want to avoid is the big hazards. So on this one, the two bunkers just short of the green. So all we want to do here is get towards the back. And then also the pin is at the back as well, and it's a downhill green. So we want to go longer rather than shorter. So we're going to take that into consideration. Okay, so it's showing like 166 meters. It's a bit of wind. Again, you need to start factoring in the wind, especially if you're in New Zealand. It's more often than not a two club wind. So for me, I am hitting it quite well. There is a cart just there, so I'm just going to wait for them. Just as I've started that, there's actually now like a stronger wind. So I'm going to club up to a 6 iron. Because again, we want to go longer, not shorter on this one. So 6 iron, and we found the center of the green. Didn't hit it the greatest, but because I clubbed up into the wind, it still made it over there. And if we can get on the green on any par 3, we've got ourselves in a good situation. And there we are in the center of the green. As you can see, missed that bunker to the right and missed that bunker to the left. Would have liked to have taken it a little bit further, but we'll be happy with that anyway. Not going to complain about being on the green. We want to just lag this putt up and get within tap-in range for a par, which is essentially a birdie in terms of the break 90 mindset. Again, take your time on lining it up. I think it should come right to left, slightly uphill, so do need to give it a little bit. Need to give it more than that, really. Left it short. But the advantage of being on the green straight away is that if you do come away with a free putt, at least you're just coming away with a bogey. So if we are going to free putt, at least let it be ones where we are on the green in reg. Okay, take our time and hopefully putt this one in for par. There we go. And our first par. So again, that's where it's important just before the round, if you do like a bit of putting practice of that kind of range. What I like to do is, I'm sure you would have seen like a drill like this before, is you have 3 or 4 balls around this kind of range and then you just go one by one. So this is on the practice green. Putt one, move on to the next one. Putt two, and then the third one, you want to putt them all in one go. And then that one's gone in, but if you miss, you've got to reset all 3 of them, and then that way you're kind of simulating a little bit of pressure on those putts, and just keep on doing that. Move on to the next hole. I need to charge my phone up a little bit. Par 4 now, so let's show you how I play a par 4 to try and break 90. So again, look at the wind. That's like, again, that's New Zealand for you. So how far is it? It's 330 meters. I'm going to take a soft drive at this one. Also, I kind of want to practice my driver. And we're going to try and aim to the center. The issue with this play is, obviously there's a lot of trees to the left. I do naturally fade/slice my driver, so I could end up in the other fairway if I don't hit it great. But that's actually not too bad. It's still a good shot in, as long as I don't go into this tree here. Technically going for this as a par 5. So you could also just play like an iron from here. Again, like I said, wind and also the kind of slice. Hopefully that should be okay over there. If I was also not wanting to try and improve my driver, which I am at the moment, I would have probably played, like in a competitive round, would have maybe played my 5 iron, but unfortunately, if you would have seen one of my last videos, this happened. And it snapped. And it's not fixed yet. I've now left myself a shot where I've got to go over this tree. So it's important to go and have a look at what you're going over, and more importantly, what's over there. So yeah, as you can see here, we've got the flag and the green just to the left side of the tree, but over the far left there we've got a water hazard, so we want to avoid that. It does land onto a downhill fairway, so we could come a little bit short, it'd roll towards the pin, and we just have like a chip, very short chip to get up and down because the pin's at the front, hitting into the wind a little bit. So I think the best option really to try and get over it is take the 52, so come a little bit short, but that's all right. Again, playing for like a par 5, and we might even get a very nice favourable bounce if we're lucky. So again, that's definitely over it. Depends how the bounce has gone, but the main thing is we've not gone into the water. We're kind of hopefully in the fairway, and let's go and have a look where we're at. Didn't quite get that downhill, just on the rough. Needed to come a little bit left. But again, breaking 90, as you can kind of see, it's more about just playing smart opposed to playing really, really well. Like a chain of bogeys really gets you a long way to breaking 90. And it's going to put you in a situation where eventually one par is going to come along like that other one did, and now we've got a shot in the bank. The other tip that I like to do is I don't count my score as I go around. So again, you just kind of go aim for bogeys and just do that each time, and then look at your score at the end. So on like the shot on your like phone or something like that, if you try and quickly enter the score without going on, you can normally get away with it. As soon as you start seeing a score, you start getting pressure, you start getting nervous, and you start doing stupid stuff, and you start trying to chase when you probably don't need to. If I'd come and landed it just here, I would have rolled down where I wanted to. Unfortunately, I found a bit of the rough here, but I'm going to try and just chip it onto that bank, and it should roll down towards the pin. So 60 degree at this one. And there we go, rolled onto the green. Would have maybe liked it to be a little bit closer, but from there we've got a nice 2-putt of bogey. And again, considering we were behind a tree for one of those shots, we're going to take that. And who knows, we might actually sink it in for par. Okay, again, so we're going to get down and try and read the putt. Clean your ball if it's dirty. That is kind of pretty straight. Although standing over it, I'm kind of feeling left edge, so let's just try and get it close. It's actually right edge, but again, we've given ourselves a nice tap in for bogey, and stress-free bogeys is going to see us break 90 quite comfortably. So just keep at your goal of getting bogeys, and then the odd par is going to sneak in the way. Again, one of the other things that a lot of people will say about trying to break 90 and stuff is you need to get loads of greens and reg. I personally don't think that that's as important as what people think. You end up trying to do more aggressive shots and more stupid shots and put yourself in worse positions more often than not. Because I'm guessing if you're around like this kind of like 18 to mid 20 handicap, even a good shot for us, we can miss the green by 20, 30 yards. Like, it could be a misread of the wind, or we could slightly push it off right or slightly hook it to the left, but it could still be a fairly good shot for us. So on that logic, that I found the most important shot is those ones from like within 50 yards. You know, having a chip which you're comfortable with, where you can definitely land on the green. I would say put most of your practice into like that short game region of like 50 like 80 yards and in, because also if you're comfortable with that range, you also then have that option, like I mentioned earlier, on a shot, instead of playing like a 250 yard shot into a green, you just play like a 170, 150 yard shot, and then you've got a nice chip shot in where you're comfortable you're going to get in the center of the green, and then if you can 2-putt from there, then you're going to easily break 90, as I have done in the past. But also don't be disheartened when you don't break 90. That's going to happen as well. We're by all means not elite golfers. But yeah, let's get into possibly the last hole of the video. It's a par 3, and as you can see here, just 110 meters, but there's a load of bunkers. So probably want to go slightly long left if anything. Just another couple of important things to do. Make sure you clean your clubs in between shots. There's no excuse for you to not clean the clubs. You can get like something like cheap off that, like off AliExpress or your local shop. Also, if it's a wet day, get a towel, dry the club off as well. Again, we're going to assess what the hazards are on the par 3. So the hazards are those bunkers. I don't know why I'm talking to you with my arse at the camera. So we've got the bunkers there. The wind has actually died off briefly, but it was into me. So we're going to take a pitching wedge and hopefully try and get it up there. Get your line in front of you. Oh dear. And also, remember, golf's supposed to be fun, so try and enjoy being out on the course and don't get too concerned about it. The bonus of being quite comfortable with your wedge shots is when you do a shot like that, you can hopefully get onto the green. Okay, going to try and be confident here. Again, thinking about where I'm going to try and land the ball. So I think anywhere around this kind of area would be good. But also I just want to make sure I get over this bunker. And it's not the greatest of lies. It's a downhill lie. But I'm going to take the 60 degree. And the most important thing is if I can avoid going over the bunker and still be all right, then I will. So I can actually kind of go in between the two bunkers. So then in the worst case, if I duff it, I don't land in a bunker, is the kind of logic there. Okay, with the downhill lies, you also want to make sure you don't like lift it, because then you're going to just blade it over. Just landed it where I wanted it to. Oh, get in. Get in. Oh! How close was that? again, that just goes to show if you can get comfortable from this kind of range to get it on the green, that's all I was concerned about there, was getting it on the green. Again, I did think about where I could land, took into consideration the 2 hazards, landed it there, it rolled down towards the hole like I wanted it to. Okay, yeah, also, quick shout out to Lazarus wedges. They've done me wonders, and also they cost probably a third of the price of a regular brand of wedges. From a higher handicapper's point of view, I don't notice much of a difference, and it's pretty strong part of my game. If you don't want to get the, if you don't want to get like the discoloring, then obviously just go for the chrome. Yeah, I like to add a little bit of flair to my bag. And you can also use my affiliate code below. Not sponsored, but if you are looking at getting them, use the affiliate code and then I can get a little bit of money. Okay, camera just died, so I've had to wait a good 5 minutes here. Again, we're going to take our time and hopefully make this putt. I'm going to aim left edge of the cup here. And we're in for par. And just remember, when you're trying to break 90, a par is essentially a birdie to you. So what have we done? We've done 5 holes. So we did bogey, bogey, par, bogey, par. So I'm 2 shots under trying to get 90. So if I got bogeys for the rest out, I'd beat 90 quite comfortably.
So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully these tips will help you cross over the 90 barrier. Let me know how you go, and subscribe for more